Hey guys, it's me Barbie with my ASD, my Autism Sentiment Diary. Today I want to discuss with you triggers. When you think of triggers, you think of all the things that will alter your mood. The thing is, with autism, triggers do not need an intervention. It's more so a redirection and coping tools and coping instructions on how to get through it. When it comes to children with autism, they are affected by so many triggers that can lead to a meltdown. A meltdown is so different from a tantrum. See, when you think of a tantrum, the child is having a moment, and in most cases, they know why they're having the tantrum. A meltdown is just an accumulation of emotions. They pile up, and due to the lack of coping skills, it creates a meltdown, a loss of control of the whole entire situation. Now I want to walk you through with this example. For instance, this is my daughter, and this represents my son Jadiel. My daughter is higher functioning, although she has some speech and she has more comprehension in some areas academically. She still struggles with coping. My son, who is nonverbal, struggles with paying attention and registering things and remembering things and meeting his needs, whether it is physically, mentally, or emotionally. So he struggles more than his sister does. He uses a communication board as well as his sister. Hers is a tablet. His is pictures. He has an array of 3 pictures in front of him to help better meet his needs. Whereas my daughter she knows how to scroll through, but yet she still struggles. So when it comes to triggers can really affect you, whether it's having a bad day or a bad moment. Now let me give you an example. My daughter can have a hard time just as simple as picking a drink amongst 2 different types of drink. So she struggles with that. Or her making a simple decision as to what does she want for breakfast. Or her tucking her chair in. Or her struggling to put on a tube sock. Zippers. Her biggest nemesis. Finding things that are right in front of her. When she is overwhelmed, she can't find things at all. These are small triggers. Somebody's talking too loud. Somebody talking too much. New people. A change of routine. Not being able to control somebody else's behavior. She's very sensitive, so she reacts to other people's emotions. These are things that are considered her triggers. And they pile up. Triggers are emotions. Things that she cannot control. Now, when it comes to Jadiel, his is a little bit more intense. Meaning that it doesn't take much for him to be triggered. But when he's triggered, more emotions are involved. So here's him not being able to figure out what he wants. Him thinking he knows what he wants, but he still picked the wrong thing. Him having to wait to get what he wants. Him starting a task that he doesn't know how to do. Him struggling to do the task. Him having to need help to complete the task. Him sitting still. Him having to take a break, although he doesn't know how to request it. See, these are all things right here that can happen within a few minutes. Get my drift? Whereas my daughter, it can be, she's affected with her brother's struggles. So it slowly piles up. When she has somebody wanting to help her, but although she doesn't want it, it'll pile up. So she slowly tries her best, but it piles up. And when it piles up, it slowly becomes something that she no longer has control of. So what happens when you have one child who is completely overwhelmed with everything that's happening that she has no control of? These are all her emotions. She no longer has control. This is a meltdown. She's upset. She's sad. She's mad. She's crying. She's overwhelmed. My son, for instance, when he's overwhelmed, what you will see is a child who's aggressive, defiant, hyper. Escape behaviors become apparent. He's lost complete control of the situation. Sometimes it leads to him crying. And when he's crying, he's self-inflicting. So these are two different individuals, both affected with autism, but they both are reacting differently based on their triggers, based on their needs, and based on the lack of coping skills. So it's very important to understand that patience plays a large role when it comes to autism. Understanding their triggers, that's hard, but it's doable. But teaching them coping skills, giving them a break, pacing yourself. Sometimes you just got to talk less, lower your voice, back up, let them get through the moment. Sometimes one small moment can affect them a lot. So what I do is I stand by it. Less is best. So whether my son might need a complete sensory break, which is taking him directly to his room because I cannot remove the environment, so I redirect him to a different environment, a safe environment. Whether he's jumping on the trampoline, whether he's swinging, whether he is just banging his body against the walls, that is how he copes. That's all he knows until he's able to learn communication skills and how to minimize his triggers. That is an alternative for coping. Whereas with my daughter, sometimes you just got to pull away. I can't give her a hug because with her sensory processing disorder, her body just can't take it. So you have to leave her alone. You have to let her really collect her thoughts. Sometimes it results in her crying. Sometimes it results just her just shutting you out completely. But once the jar is empty, it's a clean, fresh start. But the reality is that the triggers will always be there. It's a matter of us, of how we teach them how to get through it. This applies to any child. All children need coping skills. We as adults, we need coping skills. So it's extremely important to understand with autism, you may see behaviors, but behind the behaviors is the thirst, the need to learn coping skills. So I've always asked people to be mindful and be, how do I put it? You also want to be mindful, but you also want to be considerate that they're trying. And there's so many triggers that you and I can't see, but their senses are affected differently than us. So triggers. This very moment, everybody's being triggered. Okay? Everybody's being affected. Autism, probably a little bit more. My house is full of emotions daily, but more so now with the changes. Having to be homeschooled, having to be away from ABA and their friends, and the daily routine is learning a whole new routine. So it's important for you guys to understand what triggers are. Once you understand triggers, you can understand a little bit more of autism. I hope this helped you. If you have any questions about SPD, which is sensory processing disorder, or triggers, or coping skills, or just ideas in general, if you think your child is dealing with this, you are not alone. So just reach out. Reach out to one of your friends. Reach out to a professional, whether it's your OT specialist, whether it's a teacher, whether it's a friend who has a child with autism. SPD is very common, and triggers affects all of us. So I hope that you have a little bit, today you can have a little bit more patience and understanding of what triggers are that can lead either to a tantrum, a meltdown, but they all need coping. I hope you guys learn a little bit something today. If you have any questions, comment below, inbox me, text me, whatever works for you. Talk to you later. Bye.